WIDR Kalamazoo, broadcasting for you.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to WIDR 89.1 for episode 2 of Behind the Scenes. I'm your host, Bella Hamid, and this episode's guest is Ben Dewitt.
Hi.
Hi, Ben. So where can people find you?
Well, my band Pretoria, you can find us on Instagram and Spotify and Twitter, I think, and Facebook at Pretoria Music. And you can find me on there too, just Ben Dewitt, although it's just kind of my personal stuff.
Sweet. Cool. Introductions. Done. We did
Wonderful.
it. All of the hard stuff is out of the way. Now it's the easy stuff. So you're in a band. It's called Pretoria. I listened to some of your stuff. It's rad.
Oh, thank you.
It's like super cool. And I was like kind of stunned because I was like, this is a real band. Because sometimes, with local people, it's like, oh, this guy's in a band. Yeah, I've been in a band. I've been in bands. I've been in family bands. But this is a real band. This is a band on Spotify with a lot of listeners, actually. And your stuff is, like, really cool.
Thank you.
So, do you want to talk about a little bit, like, how you came to be? I mean, I read your Spotify, like, artist info, and it seemed like an interesting journey.
Yeah, it certainly was, and still is. We started actually. We're kind of like an indie rock. We try not to use the I word, but
yeah,
we're kind of an indie rock band, and but we started as a 3-piece punk band in 2018. That's kind of the music that I came up playing. I play drums in this band, and it was just me and a couple of my friends from high school, and then eventually we recorded some music with that sound and then decided to kind of pivot because none of us were really listening to that type of music at the time, and we were just inspired to make something else. So we kind of turned to a more mellow sound and released a couple songs with that sound, and it kind of took off, and I don't know, I hit the algorithm just right or something on Spotify, and yeah, all of a sudden it was just a bunch of listeners and people loving it. So we've been just going ever since. We've added 2 more people since then to the band, so 5-piece now, 3 guitars, and it's super fun. We play shows all the time, and based out of Grand Rapids, and it's just been an awesome time.
That sounds super cool. Yeah, I'm like, it sounds like you're doing some really good stuff. I definitely thought that like the punk to quote unquote indie shift seemed a little odd in my brain because I'm like, yeah, punk music, and then I think about indie music and I'm like, not the same crowd.
Yeah.
So it was definitely interesting. Like, I'm glad you explained that a little more because that totally makes sense. You should always make music that you want to listen to. So you said you do the songwriting for your band?
Most of
it. So from a musical aspect or a lyrical aspect?
From both most of the time.
That's wild.
Yeah. Usually we do some collaborative songwriting where somebody will have an idea and bring it to the rest of the band and we'll kind of figure it out. But most of the songwriting is somebody writes an entire song by themselves and then brings it to the group to learn the parts and stuff. So it's kind of, interesting. Not every band is different how they do that. So I do a lot of the songwriting. And then probably the other most prolific songwriter is our guitarist, Matt, who was not one of the original 3 in the band, but we've been friends for a long time, way before Pretoria, and he's an awesome musician, awesome songwriter too.
Sounds nice. Yeah, that is a pretty interesting setup. I know, like, personally, not interesting in a bad way or anything.
No.
But, like, I know personally when I was doing, like, band stuff, it was always, like, a collaboration. Do you ever find it, like, difficult to play other people's music?
I think because I'm a drummer, it makes it a little easier. I sometimes feel bad for our singer a little bit because he's always singing lyrics that someone else has written, and it can be more difficult to deliver the message, because there's only so much of the vision I can explain verbally to him,
Mm-hmm.
But he's been killing it, and everything has been turning out great. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, your stuff sounds really good.
thank you so much.
So what would you say your writing process is kind of like? Do you start with like a piano, starting on the drums?
It's kind of a variety. I usually don't start on the drums, just because I don't know. Sometimes there'll be like a beat that I want to do in a song, but most of the time I don't really care what the drum beat is in the song. Um, a lot of times I'll start with a guitar part or some chords or a riff, but I'd say most of the time I start with a melody or a lyrical idea.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I'll just find like a phrase in my daily life that I think sounds cool and go from there. And a lot of the melody will be inspired by the natural vocal inflection of that phrase or just how it fits into a rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go from there. And it used to be a lot harder when I was first writing songs, but now a lot of times when I begin a song, I kind of already I like imagine the song around it, and I have a good understanding of structure and what I like and don't like and where I want it to go. And so things are a lot easier now that I have a little bit more experience doing it.
For sure. I've always heard that songwriting is like a muscle. You gotta use it or you lose it. So
Absolutely.
for sure. And how do you stay focused when you write? Because I know from a lot of other people I've talked to, it's really easy to like start and then stop and never see it again.
Yeah. Yeah. And finishing songs is just
It's hard.
Every songwriter that I've talked to, that's one of their biggest things that they struggle with. And I'm not the type of songwriter that can just sit down and write a song in one sitting. I can't approach it like clocking into work,
Mm-hmm.
I can't just be like, okay, song is happening now. It's just kind of how I avoid getting stuck is just trying to always be ready for inspiration when it comes, and having my methods of recording voice memos or writing notes on my phone, and just kind of always having it in the back of my mind that I am kind of looking for something to put in a song and something to inspire me. And then also like what I was saying with the mapping out the song and the structure, that just kind of gives me an idea of like what I still need in order to finish the song. Like, okay, I have a first verse and a hook, so I guess I just need like a second verse and then maybe like a bridge or something. So it kind of narrows down what I need and stuff like that. So
It's really nice, actually. That's a pretty good take on it, I'd say. I definitely know some people are just like, I'll just like sit and leave it, come back to it when the inspiration is there again. But I feel like in like music school or college or whatever, it's like they want it on demand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Learning the main thing I feel like I'm learning in classes is less of like, well, obviously like this is how you do things, this is the industry, but it's also a lot of you need to know things now. At a certain time. We want a song from you in 2 weeks. You need to have a song in 2 weeks. And I mean, like, that's good, because, you have to practice writing songs to be able to write them. But it also just sometimes you're like, here's my project that has no creativity whatsoever because it was due in a week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For sure. But oh, no, you first.
Oh, sorry. I definitely do my fair share of just like, okay, I'm just gonna like let this sit, and I think that has use too, especially with like stuff like school. If because you can't always just make it happen in a snap. Sometimes you need to have a few things in your back pocket that are just like some ideas that maybe didn't completely come to fruition that you can kind of rework into something for a project or something like that.
So you're a senior, right?
Ish, yeah.
Ish?
I transferred. I got an associate's degree
Got it. Okay.
before this, and then
So you're graduating this semester?
Yes. Yep.
That's so cool.
No, I'm
So
excited.
you're a MAT major, right?
Mhm.
Which for our listeners out there is multimedia arts technology.
Mm.
We're gonna be talking about that a lot in this podcast, so get ready. But so you're doing your capstone, right?
Yes, I just presented mine yesterday.
Yesterday? Yeah, I'm so sorry I couldn't come.
Oh, that's fine.
I was in a concert, but I really did want to go to them. So what did you do for your capstone project?
I tried something very different, and I produced a hip hop EP.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I've never done hip hop or rap before. And I didn't do any vocals on it, but I made all the instrumentals and got all the artists organized. And yeah, it was a big, I mean, it took a year.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
point.
Yeah. That's actually super cool. I find a lot in like this program. I know when I went to the Matt showcase, I met a kid who did like country for the first time, and I was like, "Whoa." But that sounds really cool. Like what kind of things went into that?
Well, my original idea for it was I wanted to produce a hip hop album that so in one of the conventions of hip hop is sampling, and I wanted to make an album in the style of that, like a sampled style, but without actually using any like copyrighted samples. So what I wanted to do was write and record sections of like quote unquote fake songs, and then in like an old school style, and then chop those up and make the beats out of those instead of pulling from existing songs, which wound up being like way too much because I I didn't even know. I'd never even made hip hop before, so I didn't know the conventions of the genre. So trying to learn that and learn how to make beats on top of trying to write and record and find musicians and to do it for a whole album, it was just too much. So I had to pivot into just making it more traditionally and just trying to go for the most convincing sound I could. My goal was to just have it so, you know, if you heard it alongside some other, you know, music you would listen to on Spotify and stuff, you wouldn't, it would sound not out of place.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
and I hopefully achieved that.
Yeah, for sure. So you're almost done with college. Ooh, scary.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming you have a plan, right?
Yeah. Yep. So right now I am already freelancing a bit as an audio engineer. So I have a few, mostly in clients in Grand Rapids. I have a buddy in Grand Rapids that has a nice like home studio that I do a lot of work out of. And so I have a couple like singer-songwriter people that I work with where I kind of like help them turn their guitar and vocals song into like a whole band song and record and mix it and master it. And then I might actually do some more stuff in the rap realm because I've had a few people ask to like buy beats off of me and stuff. And I also have an internship at La Luna, which is a cool studio in Kalamazoo. So
Super cool.
So I might keep on doing some work in recording studios. And it'll likely be a variety of things that I'm doing just because there's so many different facets of audio that can be done. I might even do some studio musician work, you know? And then I'll keep on doing band stuff. We're lucky enough to be having a decent amount of listeners, but still being independent. So
That's really great.
Yeah, I do. While, you know, streaming services still don't like pay as much royalties as they should, I'm still making more royalties than most artists who are signed. So it's a little bit, but it's still helpful it's going to be very helpful to make ends meet after I graduate and stuff. So.
Do you want to get signed in the future or?
It's definitely an option. We've had some offers, but it's kind of like we're able to do a lot of things ourselves. And for smaller labels, it's like there's not a ton of things that they could do that we can't do ourselves. And then we're kind of in that middle ground where small labels can't help us too much, and then large labels are still just a bit out of reach. So maybe we'll find a deal that works for us eventually. But right now we're chilling.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think it's time to listen to some music.
Sweet.
I can either pull it up. Okay, so if you'd like to introduce this track, we can play it.
Yeah, so this track is called What's the Difference? It features rappers Rashi B and JDG, which are both classmates of mine who are awesome vocalists. And I just sent them a big folder of beats, and they picked which ones they wanted to work on, and they wrote these bars together. And we actually recorded them both at the same time so they could bounce off each other and feed off each other's energy. And I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Sweet. I'm excited to listen to this.
Lord, what a difference a day.
Yeah. Hip hop. Look, it's time to bring it to you cowards, and it's gonna be sick. I'm Slick Nicholas, the diamond and nickel that's filled with innocence. So give me the mic and I'll be writing every typo. We blowing up no light bulb on some boy like Michael.
Jordan like Pippen, so tell me what's the difference. Detroit player, I come from the slum village, it's acidic. I stay with the static, gets eclectic like friction. If without the bro, they see the vision.
Hold that, running now, who's up, who's down, bow. Nobody repping the style, we just put your foul, homie. Check the sound, it's around, don't it sound so me? It's hard to weigh out all these options with these pounds on me.
Like crack, cocaine, boat like Usain. Hit it chrome to your brain, screaming money ain't a thing. But cars, clothes, and chains. Symbiotic venom cultivating through my veins, ain't a damn thing changed.
Now watch me march to the beat, hear the drum, how it swing. My lingo too slick for y'all cats, it's called slang. It's like Batman, Robin, solution problem. EP to albums got you itching for that talk gum.
Powder, power level over 9,000, broke the scouter. Get paid by the minute, you get paid by the hour. So give me the mic though, my flow's ether. That third day I gave her a rose, it's like Easter.
Please don't cross in my circle, get you tic-tac-toed. I've been that cold, I'm Jay, so you Nat King Coles can match these flows. Jordan, you can match these souls, only a tag could ever match these poles.
I'm reeling them in, bro. Bar 64 like Nintendo, my friend zone like what your pen on. My next day can't ain't your Kimpo, can't match my tempo. Like Brady in the end zone, I measured up like a ruler to it. I've been improving, my pen game might be a cooler to the streets. Wrist on BNT and Benny being on the beat.
How you standing 10 toes when you 6 feet deep?
I done planned all my pros, all my cons on delete.
Planting seeds, sesame, but I reside in the streets.
Heavy verb that I spray when I brush your vertebrae.
Man, I'm shooting shots, gun cotton fields where the birds is prey.
She ride the Harley, no Quinn, ain't talking birds of prey.
Hard to mold the box into a chick, but I'm cast as clay.
Looking like Eileen, Tyson, and Frazier.
Lately I'm frozen as ice, vacation in glaciers.
That's on my chest, dark Superman on skyscrapers.
Mother Nature couldn't step to me, I elevate her.
So tell me what's the difference.
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 So tell me what's the difference.
Tell me what's the difference.
Like what's the difference?
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Hip hop. And it don't stop, and it won't stop.
Wow. That was super great, actually.
Thank you.
I'm not super into hip hop, but that was rad.
Appreciate it.
I think something I've noticed about like your production is that it's like super clean and clear, I'd say. So, yeah, I don't know if that was just you going for the hip hop style or whatever, but it was nice, crisp.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, would you like to talk about some of the things you did in that track a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So the main sample in the track is What a Difference a Day Made by Dinah Washington. It's a really cool old song that I just stumbled across one day. And I was like, I could definitely figure something out with this because I was working on the project at the time. And it also samples a Jorge Benjor song. He's a Brazilian artist. The title's in Portuguese, and I don't know Portuguese, so I don't really remember how to pronounce it. But that's just like the vocal samples at the end, and then Jalen and Rashi just like did their thing. We talked back and forth a little bit while they were doing it, but for the most part, I just let them. I tried to like create a space for the artists in this, and like communicate with the artists and do like the more producer role and make suggestions when I needed to. But for the most part, I wanted them to just express themselves and do their thing. So I was hands off most of the time.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I, I feel like sometimes in art it's difficult especially when it's like your final grade to be able to give other people the reins, because like what if their bars are bad, or like what if they do a really weird thing that just doesn't fit in with what my presentation is. And have you ever found that like sometimes I don't know, like sometimes when you're collaborative on like a music piece, you just want to be like, it's mine. Let me do it.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
I like very much so am like a just let me do the whole thing type of person. So this project was also just an exercise in collaboration, because I'm not a natural collaborator at all. So yeah, I was mainly just really fortunate to be in touch with some really good artists, and that's kind of what really made it happen. But yeah, it was a little difficult, but it helped that this was my first time in the genre. I was kind of nervous to even be like talking to these people, and was just, I don't know. I mean, I liked the beats that I made, but I didn't know if other people would think they were cool, if rappers were gonna want to rap on them. So it was also kind of like they were being my guide a little bit. So that was nice, having people that have done it a million times.
Speaking of artists, is there anyone you'd like love to work with if you could?
Just in general, or like with rap, or
Just anything, I'd say. You can give as many answers as you want.
Oh, I feel like one group that is notorious for doing lots of collaborations, Gorillaz, would be super cool to do something with.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
So, anyone listening out there, contact Ben.
Damon.
Contact Ben. He would love to be on your next album. So
Yeah, come on.
what do you think that would sound like, huh?
It's probably sound really spooky.
You think it sounds spooky?
We do a spooky track.
You do a spooky track, yeah. For sure. It's wild. Is there anyone else?
I think as far as like rappers go, I love Rico Nasty. I would love to work. I think that would be so fun.
That would be so fun.
Yeah.
She's such a hoot, as my grandma would say.
No, that would be a very fun one. And then also I love are you familiar with Wolfpack?
Not super.
They're a funk band out of the east side of Michigan. And Jack Stratton, who's like everybody in that band is like a like legendary musician, and like just is insane. And Jack Stratton isn't like known for any like one thing that he does, but he's a little bit of like more of the creative force behind the group, and his mind just like baffles me. And I just watching videos of him just like doing his thing on YouTube and stuff. I don't know. I would love to just have dinner with that man.
Yeah.
Or collaboration would be awesome too.
Is there anyone or anything, rather, I guess, either is fine, that inspires you to like do what you do?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, you can take your time. It's no problem.
I don't know. There's no one that I was really trying to like. Some people have like a hero when they're coming up that they're trying to be like, and they start like trying to copy that person and then eventually find their own way. But I didn't really have anyone in particular that I was trying to emulate when I was first starting out, for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have my influences. One thing that was really important to me when I was finding my way with music, like in early high school, when I first started, like, I joined a band that was actually going out and playing gigs. I started writing songs, was the album Random Access Memories by Daft Punk.
Mm-hmm.
That came out, I think it was 2016, and I would just listen to it over and over and over, and just like really, I felt like shaped my tastes with music, and that was kind of the beginning of me not only finding my own taste with what I listen to, but also like I totally ripped off some of the drum parts from that album, and like, yeah.
It's a crucial part of every little baby musician's life.
Yes.
Is to just rip off something they absolutely love.
Absolutely. And my dad, I'm actually a second generation musician. So my dad is a professional musician, and he would always tell me, like, great musicians don't borrow, great musicians steal.
It's great advice.
Yeah.
For legal reasons, that would be
for legal reasons, that's true. But he also comes from more of like the jazz realm, where it's very normal to you listen to the greats and, you know, learn all their solos exactly, and then take a lick and use it here, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you feeling another song?
Yeah, I'm always
Sweet.
feeling another song.
I'm always feeling another song. I try to play at least 4, so...
Great.
Cool. Okay. Do you have a song you'd like to show off?
Sure.
You
Well,
can show it to me.
so I have a couple Pretoria songs.
Okie dokie.
So those would be
Anything you
cool.
feel like that, like, I'm just proud of this, or like, I want to talk about something in this?
I almost just grabbed the flash drive to look and see what was on it.
Yes.
It's like, yes, how about this one? I'm trying to remember. So there's 2 songs from my capstone, 2 Pretoria songs, and then a song from another funk band that I'm in that is just an instrumental that I worked on and helped write. And that came out pretty recently.
Bro, you gotta spawn your band. What's it called?
Short Panic.
Short Panic?
Yep.
Well, I'm putting that in the title right now.
All right.
You gotta spawn your band, bro.
And I've been in so many bands over the years that they blend together. But Short Panic's awesome. I love those guys.
Yeah, well, we can talk about
Guys
that
and
next.
gals. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. Okay, let me pull up Spotify. Are they on Spotify?
Yep. This song is on Spotify. It's called Them Hits. I almost said Them Changes.
Yeah.
It is not
I love
Them
that song
Changes.
by That was super cool. Firstly. Secondly, tell me about this funk band you're in.
Yeah, so we're called Short Panic, also based out of Grand Rapids, and it originally started without me, with a few people I knew from GRCC, that we all, well, a couple of them had recording classes together, and they were all music people. So, and originally the singer and lead guitarist wanted to be in like a blues trio, really into like John Mayer type stuff. So they started as that. And if you know the drummer Kyle, you know that he's like the funk machine. So like anything he touches becomes funk. So because he was in this band, of course it eventually became a funk band. And then I've been friends with Kyle for a long time. We did like drumline together, so our playing is like really locked in together. And I eventually just was like, hey, can I just like come to one of your shows sometime and like bring some auxiliary percussion stuff and like just like freestyle it on stage? And they were like, yeah, man, because they're more of like a jam band, and where Pretoria, it's very like meticulous. Like we record drums and we get all the details right, and then we record bass and then we get all the details right, and then we like this and that, and everything is very, very rehearsed. Short Panic is just like we're jamming, and they're all great improvisers. So I just like showed up to one of their gigs one time with a little like, I don't even remember what I had. I had some like cowbells and a tambourine and like a little drum, and it was just so fun. And I just kept on doing that. And then eventually I brought my guitar to one practice, and they really liked it. So I just started playing guitar, and eventually the percussion stuff kind of phased out. And now I'm just a guitarist. And then we added the sax player as well. And then the lead singer, David's girlfriend, Megan, as well, has an awesome voice. So she's on some of our tracks as well, and plays our shows with us.
That's super cool. I definitely love the number one fan to in the band pipeline.
The best pipeline.
So you're in a lot of bands and stuff. Do you work on any like solo stuff?
I do. Yeah. As of late, I've been kind of at like an impasse with solo stuff. I had kind of a sound I was working on for a while that was like kind of more like folk inspired, but like I grew up kind of like an emo kid, so it had like a little bit of an emo tinge to it as well.
The alternative?
Yeah, exactly. But so I released an EP when I was 19, called Peers by Peers. Peers is the name of my current solo project.
You want to spell that for our listeners?
Yeah, Peers.
Perfect. It could be appear like a doc, so.
That's true. Yeah. Peers, classmates. Yeah, and then I wrote an entire other EP for that project, and kind of started recording it, and just haven't gotten around to finishing it and releasing it. Partly because of my like creative like questioning that I've been having, and partly because I've just been really busy with Pretoria and school and other things. So eventually that might come out. Eventually I maybe will find a different sound that works for me. I think I will always be making solo music because I make music, and
that's what you do.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. And yeah, I mean, there's a whole part of it is now that I've been involved with so many different genres and styles and projects, there's just a whole wide open world of music and I don't know what will express me the most, you know?
You're just a lone emo kid on a little ship lost at sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be really overwhelming. What are you working to improve on right now?
I'm always working on my writing, and it's
for sure.
It's something that's really hard to get better at because it's so subjective. And I have it can be easy to look back at the songs that you have some distance from and be like, wow, these are actually like quite good, even though they're from past me. And, you know, look at your present stuff, the stuff that you are spending a ton of time with and listen to a ton of, and you might be a little bit sick of, and that you're always second guessing because it's still unfinished. And so it's hard to balance out, you know, there's always the questions of, am I really getting better? And then also for me, you know, those big Pretoria songs that got a bunch of streams, I wrote most of them like 3 years ago, right? So, you know, it's always hard because my more recent stuff is like by the numbers, it's less popular. And obviously the numbers aren't everything. And I genuinely do think that my recent writing is better than my writing back then. But it's always a struggle, and it's so much of a mental game, and mental hurdles to overcome.
Yeah, I feel like it could definitely be difficult when you work really hard on putting out new stuff and people are like, we like the old stuff. It's like, I always notice, like, when I go to a band's Spotify and I'm like, top song made in 2009. And you're like, I always just feel so bad because I'm like, people are putting out new stuff and you got to appreciate that along with the old stuff, you know? That's the thing about, like, following bands that aren't, you know, dead or whatever, is that, like, it's important to keep up and show the support for, you know, the album that just came out, along with the songs that make you listen to the band.
Yeah, for sure.
So, if there was like one song, you would be like, I want people to put this in their little ear holes because I worked hard and I'm super proud of it. You have like something like that, you think?
Yes, Pretoria has an entire album that is unreleased right now. It's in like the mixing stages. I think they will be okay with me saying that. And there's a few songs on there that I'm really, really excited about. I mean, we still have to work out some mixing and recording stuff, but like, there's a song on there called Black Glass that I'm very proud of and think if we get it right, people will love it.
Super excited for that.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited for the whole album. It's about time we had an album, and I think I don't know. A lot of artists wait. They like put out a lot of singles and EPs and wait for like a record deal or something. But we just have so many songs that are ready to go, so might as well just get a record done.
A little side note here.
Yeah.
If you go on your band's Spotify, you have a homemade "This is what our band sounds like" Spotify playlist, and I thought that was really funny.
This is Pretoria, and it's just like a Photoshop picture of us.
It's just a Photoshop picture of you guys. I saw it and I went, "Whoa, these guys have one of these," and then I looked a little closer and I went, "Huh, something about this font not right."
I love that. I don't know. To this day, I still don't know which one of us made that.
So, let's see. You play guitar, you do drums, you do the mixing. What is your equipment like?
Yeah. So most of our recording is done in that studio I described earlier in Grand Rapids. It's
In your friend's basement?
exactly literally in his mom's basement.
Nice. Living the highlight.
Yep. But no, he's put a good amount of resources into it, and there's some really good equipment down there. And so we do a lot of work there. Do you want like details with gear, like what the workflow is like?
Like, imagine you are our listeners right now. You're walking into the basement. You want to see where the magic happens. What are they going to see that's like, whoa, that's cool? Or something where you're just like, I cannot believe we have access to this. Or like, this is my favorite thing.
So the most important part by far is the pretty LED lights that change colors.
That's so cool.
Yep. That's what impresses people.
Space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
For sure.
And then there's some like acoustic treatment on the walls and stuff. And then there's it's one room in the basement. We used to use an upstairs room too. We like cut a hole in the floor and like ran a snake up there. But that's been repurposed into the gamer dungeon.
There's a gamer dungeon in the recording studio.
Yep. So yeah, his little brother is very into doing that, and so. But yeah, in the studio, it's just a nice workstation, a nice computer, and a good interface, and a big comfy couch that you'll just sink into once you sit down. And then there are instruments everywhere. There's like 10 guitars on the walls. He's a guitar player, so lots of guitars, some amps. He also has like a few snare drums, even though he's never drummed in his life.
Yeah.
He, just got to get that sound, man. Yeah. But then there are a couple like
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe if we run the guitar through the snare drum, we can get the sound.
You can get that. That's how they made Pet Sounds. But and then there's some synthesizers down there and stuff, and I have 2 tape machines down there, because I'm just into that sometimes. I don't like record a record on a tape machine, but like I'll run stuff through it and get it sounding goofy, and that's what I do.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a DAW choice?
Forgive me. Pro Tools.
Okay.
Pro Tools. That's just where I started.
We don't shame here.
It's a judgment-free zone.
I like asking people their DAW of choice because of the variety of answers is insane. You can get anything from like GarageBand to Audacity to Pro Tools. Yeah. Yeah, it's just wild. So, you know what? If it works for you, it works for you. It's all just a tool, man.
Yeah, I like Pro Tools. It's very flexible. I obviously don't like Avid as a company. I think a lot of people don't. But yeah, I also just got Logic this summer. I've been learning that. I think I might at least partially switch to that at least on my like personal computer, just because it comes with so many awesome resources. Like they really give you everything you need to make an awesome record just in that package for $200. It's insane. If you're getting started with production, I highly recommend getting Logic.
For sure. And if you're a student, you can get the student package, which is Logic plus a bunch of other stuff.
Yes, that's what I got actually. It was Logic Final Cut Pro compressor, which is a extension for Final Cut Pro, and then I think Main Stage, which is a bunch of Logic instruments but optimized for like live performance, and then like 1 or 2 more Final Cut Pro extensions. And I got it for $50 actually, because I got it like with my Mac when I bought it. And
Wild.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
It's nice. I'm really enjoying it. I made some of my beats for my project on there, and so I'm still a baby Logic user, but learning.
Oh, that's totally fine. All right, I think it's time for song number 3.
Woo!
What are we thinking?
So we played Short Panic. We played my project. So it might be time for a Pretoria track.
Okay.
It was gonna happen eventually.
It was gonna happen someday.
So the ones I had on my drive were Gently and Skinny Dip.
Okay, I have both of those here, so which one do you prefer? At least I think this one's you. Let me see. Yeah, no, it looks like you.
Nice. I probably have different hair in whatever picture you're looking at. Is it the one with us on the like steps?
On the steps, yeah.
That's actually at the University of Chicago. We just kind of like went there and took a bunch of pictures.
Are you the one with the glasses?
Maybe.
Because there's one that looks like you that's not wearing glasses, but
I think I'm wearing a white tank top.
Wait, tank top? Yeah, you're not wearing glasses. Okay, we'll go with Gently. This one's a bop. Country girl. Sorry, I will not defile your song like that.
We always, our singer Rob loves to say yeehaw during the song, but we have to limit him to 1 yeehaw per playthrough, because otherwise he'll go off the rails.
Your singer has a very nice voice.
Yeah, he sings awesome. Shout out Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
I cannot live with this love anymore.
I definitely feel that like sometimes the singer is what makes or breaks it for me.
For sure. That's kind of how I feel like how the message is delivered a lot of times.
Your jar of hearts is getting heavy, and I'm a long way from accepting why we can have a happy ending. I guess I never thought there would be a day you wouldn't want to kiss me, and how it happened is a mystery. So I'll just have to keep on acting as if it's alright now. It's alright. Line after line, we've rehearsed this before. Reading your lips with a lump in my throat. I cannot lift up my eyes from the floor. After a while, I won't make you smile anymore. Speak to me gently. Your jar of hearts is getting heavy, and I'm a long way from accepting why we can have a happy ending. I guess I never thought there would be a day you wouldn't want to kiss me, and how it happened is a mystery. So I'll just have to keep on acting as if it's alright now. It's alright now. As if it's alright now. It's alright.
That was great.
Thank
Do you so does your whole band help produce the songs or does your buddy do it?
That song in particular, we didn't. The studio that I was talking about didn't really even exist yet.
Wild.
I recorded all of that song except for the vocals is just me in my mom's basement with like my little Scarlett 2i2 interface, and like the only microphones I had was an SM57 and a Beta 52. So like all the drums are just the whole drum kit is recorded with just those two mics, and then the vocals are just that dynamic mic, and so it was very, very, very low budget. And I think I did it with all stock Pro Tools plugins as well, which Logic stock plugins are nice. Pro Tools,
Not so
no.
much. Yeah. I mean, it
So-
sounds amazing
Oh,
for
thank you
that.
so
So,
much.
yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah, so it was, I mean, everybody has to be okay with it before we release it, obviously, but for that one, it was mostly me driving the production, but also that was baby producer Ben, you know?
Now
I
you're a
was
wise
just-
Ben.
I don't know about that, but yeah, we were all just figuring things out, so.
Yeah. How long had the band been formed at that point, you think?
Well, let's see. We spent 1 year. We formed. It must have been 2017 when we formed, and then we spent almost a year as a punk band. That following winter, we transitioned into more mellow sound. So 2018, it must have been late 2018 when that song was released. So Yeah, a year and a half. Not long.
Not long. It's wild. You guys must have some good chemistry then, huh?
I suppose. I do really like all those guys. They're awesome. I love
That's good.
Whenever we have a show that's out of town, we road trip together and like spend the whole day together. Those are some of my favorite days.
It's good. I always think, like, you should love what you do, but you should also love the people you do it with. So,
I like that a lot.
yeah. Like, I mean, there's a difference between having coworkers and bandmates, you know?
I feel that, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's just like, I see some bands where it's just like, going to your 9 to 5. They meet up, they make music, they go home. And I'm like, man, what is up?
Yeah.
Like, where's the magic, you know?
Yeah. And, I'm not going to force them to hang out with me, but, like, it is really nice hanging out with them, and we genuinely enjoy each other and have a lot of fun on stage and off.
That's great. For sure. And I think it makes, like, the whole process easier and nicer for everyone.
I think so, too.
Would you say that there's anything that just, like, attracted you to music?
I think a big part of what attracted me to writing and recording specifically is there's something very, very magical about hearing something come together, something that came from nothing and was just a thought inside your head, and how it's a real, tangible piece of wiggly air that sounds like legit, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's that part is super, super cool. And I get like addicted to that part. I will like, I have a bad habit of when I like, get when I like demo a song and I get the demo for the first time and it's like, whoa, I can hear the whole song as a song for the first time. And then I listen to it over and over, like on my Google Drive. It's a terrible habit because I just do it until like I completely lose the original vision of the song. And I've heard it so many times that like I don't like see it the same way anymore. So actually what Pretoria does now is we have the anti-Ben folder. And so what that is so when I finish a demo, I listen to it a few times and then I send it to our manager, who puts it in a folder that everyone in the band has access to except for me. And then I delete it off of my Google Drive. So like I'm unable to listen to it. And the only way I can get that like fix of like hearing a song come together is by making a new song. So it also motivates me.
You're like a little hamster in a wheel.
I am. But it's all mental games like that.
We could train this one.
Yeah, you got to learn how to Pavlov yourself, like, and wait, that's the guy with the dogs, right?
That's the guy with the dog and the bell.
Yeah.
It's more like yours would be more like positive and negative reinforcement.
Well, and the dogs were operant conditioning, right?
Operant conditioning, yeah.
Yeah, I remember my one psychology class.
I took AP psychology.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a 5.
Ooh, I never got a 5 in anything. But yeah, it really is mental games like that. And even when it comes to mixing and stuff, like you have to know your tendencies and you have to, it's a mind game. It's all a mind game.
You're playing like 4D chess over there. All right. Why do you do what you do? It's a big question.
It is. But I don't think I'm afraid of the question.
That's good. It's just words.
That's good. It's just words.
Squiggly airs.
Part of the answer is it's just what I do. I love it, and if I end up making it huge and being a big star, great. If I end up in poverty for the rest of my life, which is much more likely, I'm gonna keep doing it just the same. And more and more lately, I've kind of realized that, the numbers can tell you things. Your friends and family can tell you things about what you make. Your fans or listeners can tell you things about what you make, what they like and don't like. But really, the only measure of what is good and what is quality comes from inside. And there's no way to tell what you make is good other than whether you like it.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's self-fulfillment, man. I've always said that, like, I feel like when I was being made, they, like, pump the music right into me. And it's like, if I can't do this, there's no point in doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I remember distinctly when I was going to college for this, and everyone was like, "You're going to college for music? That's dumb." I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's either this or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, keep making what you love. That's what's important.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have 5 more minutes left.
Mm.
So, I'm thinking we can... Are you feeling song or are you feeling closing?
I could do either. I'm cool with the song.
All right, let's do a song then.
Cool.
What song do you have in mind?
So the
Let me
only
open my magic
song
box.
left that is clean is Skinny Dip.
Got it.
Pretoria. Slightly newer Pretoria song. Still not completely new.
If I could live these perfect moments quite so often, I might stop this. Let's take a swim in my favorite outfit, crash into the sea and sink is now. It's now. Keep biting your lips, and I'll pretend that I'm not even close to leaning in for a kiss. 'Cause I'm still waiting for the proper time. You said it's now. 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 It's
Sweet. So that was Skinny Dip, and that was super cool. I definitely liked the ending a lot.
Yeah, that was fun. That was just I had this little analog synth that I was messing with, and you crank up the LFO for the Matt terminology, you can get some pretty crazy effects. So I just threw it at the end there. It was fun.
Super cool.
Yeah.
That was great.
Thank
Before we leave today, firstly, it's been great having you here. Thank you for coming.
you. Yeah, of
I
course.
can't wait to see you on some giant stage somewhere. I'll be like, I remember that kid when he was yay tall. But when you're selling out, what is it they sell out nowadays? Like
I don't know.
football stadiums. Yeah, when you're selling out stadiums and you're doing this when you're 40, it'll be exciting to see you. So, just one more time for our listeners, today's guest has been Ben Dewitt. You can find him
Everywhere and anywhere. But at Pretoria Music.
Nice. And it was super great having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been wonderful.
Yeah. And thank you for listening out there. Woo.